The challenge of leadership is to be strong, but not rude. Be kind, but not weak. Be bold, but not bully. Be thoughtful, but not lazy. Be humble, but not timid. Be proud, but not arrogant. Have humor, but without folly. This is Wright Brennan with the Lost in the Midlands podcast, and I am so excited today to be here with Miss Hazel Livingston. She is the Mayoral Candidate for the city of Lexington, and she is also a salesperson for Green Earth Services.
Yeah, I am. My husband would tell you I'm a part-time employee, but hey. And I'm going to correct you. We consider ourselves a town of Lexington, not a city.
I'm just a dumb Casey boy.
Hey, it's all good. We just like the word town because it feels more community and
absolutely. Yep. Sorry about that. And I'm really excited to hear about the cool stuff you guys have going on, the campaign, et cetera. I do want to ask you a little bit about your journey coming up. So where are you from, Lexington?
I am not from Lexington. I'm from a small town in South Georgia, but I've been up here about 30 years. And I'm from a small town called Fitzgerald, Georgia. If you've never heard of it, it's home of wild chickens. So it's kind of a unique little place. Most of my family is still there, but I've been up here about 30 years. I ran for council 25 years ago.
Wow.
And won my seat. And have served as a council member for 25 years, served as Mayor Pro-Tem, which is elected by your fellow council members for 19 years.
You've been in politics for a long time, so I imagine that this is something that you've always wanted to. I mean, as a child, were you thinking, I'm going to be a politician?
No, I was not. As a matter of fact, I went to my 40th class reunion this last weekend, and they told me that they would have least likely thought I would have been the one to step up and run for politics. And I was like, that's interesting. But anyway, that's what they told me. But they were proud of me, and, they just said that they wouldn't have expected that. What made me decide to do it is I had two daughters, and I got to looking around and was like, I want to be involved and make a difference. I want to leave a footprint to where the quality of life for them and for my grandchildren, which I now have 10 grandchildren.
Congrats.
Will be there.
Yeah.
That how things are laid out and how things are developed will be a future for them.
Well, what brought you here? I want to know. At some point, you had to, 25 years ago or whatever.
A job. I moved up here with Bob Bennett Ford. Used to be Bob Bennett Ford. I was a commercial fleet sales manager for them. And I moved up here. My children's father passed away in an automobile accident, and we decided to move so I could make a better living for them, and I moved here.
Fantastic. Tell me a little bit about your journey in politics. So 25 years ago when it started, what was one of your first initiatives? What was one of the first things that you were fighting the good fight?
One of the first things they gave me when I ran for politics 25 years ago was they handed me the sign ordinance and said, we want you to rewrite it. Well, yeah. Being young, being in politics, brand new, and not knowing that I was going to get yelled and screamed at a lot, I said, okay, I can do this. So I started with that, and but I was smart enough along the way that every time we would all agree on a change, I'd make them sign off on it, so I knew they wouldn't back out on me at the, when we got to it. It was a tough thing to do. A lot of people didn't like it. There was a lot of study that went into it because signs are expensive for businesses.
Yeah. Yep.
So there was a lot of study of giving the sign that was there its lifespan before they had to take it down.
Yeah.
So we put that in there too. Some of the people that didn't like it at all then now love it.
Yeah.
And they love the signs being lower and the monument style signs and the cleanness of all the signs in the community. So it was a negative at first because people resisted change, but then after it was done and people started seeing what it looked like, some of my strongest people that yelled at me come now and hug me and tell me great job.
I know that you have been a big part of the beautification of the city, but you did also just touch on something else I want to ask you about. You said that it's tough. You know, people yelling at you, et cetera, et cetera. And I can tell that you have some thick skin. That's got to be part of, you know, being in politics that long. Would you agree with that statement?
Thick skin. I still get my feelings hurt. I still have feelings. But yeah, I have thick skin, especially when I believe that I have done my research and I'm honestly doing the best I can for the citizens, even though you may not see the big picture right then.
Yeah.
If I really feel like I put it all in and made that decision that they've elected me to make, then I can stand up against it.
What would be a lesson that you've learned along the way about, you know, getting people as a leader, getting people to come together and make progress? Like, what would be something that you could say has been a successful strategy?
Well, serving on council and then moving into the position of mayor, we're not individuals. We're there as a team to do what's right for the citizens. And we need to have lively conversations and be on opposite pages to bring out the best for the citizens. A lot of times we need to get in there and just debate it. And if we do that and you have the different ideas being thrown, the best one rises to the top.
Right.
And I think sometimes the hardest thing is, as elected officials, putting our differences aside and going back to a new idea and working on it without letting it stand in the way. And I work real hard to do that. I work real hard to remember that it's nothing personal.
Right.
That we disagreed and it maybe my side didn't win or I didn't get what I thought was the best idea. But ultimately, the best for the people did rise, and I need to let it go and move on to the next thing. So that's probably the hardest thing to do sometimes.
Yeah, that's interesting. That really does sound like how progress is made. It sounds like strong leadership, and it's also interesting how you said we're a team. You know, and somebody like me who's just kind of from the outside looking in, I wouldn't think of the council as a team, but you guys do have to work together to make the things happen. Is that something you learned, or did you kind of go knowing it like we're going to have to come together? And
no, that's something I learned, and it's something I see more and more every day, especially when you have like politics in Washington and other politics being separate. I don't think any of us come in as yes people. To run for an office, you have to be strong, and you have to have strong ideas. But the ultimate thing is, if we can't learn, kind of like a husband and wife, if you can't agree to disagree and move on to the next thing afterwards and not let it be personal, then you'll never get anything done.
Right.
And that's sometimes what we see happen in Washington, because they're not trying to work together and move it forward for the people. So my goal as the mayor is to keep our team communicating and to try to keep them focused on the big picture of the community and doing what's right for them and not letting our feelings getting in the way.
Awesome. Tell me, what is Lexington doing well right now? Where do you think you guys are winning?
Well, I feel like that we're doing very well, community events and quality of life that are family friendly.
Yeah.
Our downtown has come to life thanks to the amphitheater. I will say I was the swing vote on that. When it started a long time ago with Randy Halfacre as our mayor, I was the swing vote, and it was 3 against, 3 for, and it took me about a year to come around. And that was another hard decision to make, because I was like, are we doing the right thing? You know, is it big enough? Is it this? Is it that? Is it going to be utilized? People that fussed at me about making that decision now has come up and kissed me on the cheek and hugged me and said, we're so glad you did this. We love it. I mean, it's full all the time.
That's got to feel good.
It does feel good. And to see the activity and the nice little restaurants that are coming downtown Lexington, I encourage you to come join us. Come check out one of our free concerts. We have 6 in the spring and 6 in the fall that are free concerts on Thursday night. The children are dancing down front. The parents are sitting there just enjoying it. And I think there's so many other new things that we can do there and utilize that to bring more family-friendly events and just to see the community loving each other. Absolutely.
Downtown Lexington is rocking and rolling.
It's nice.
It is exciting to see that. Where do you think Lexington needs to put some work in?
I think communicating to our citizens what's going on. and how we're doing things. Some of the things that's come up since we've been running for office. We've got 7 candidates running for office. And a lot of things that surfaced is the reality of our involvement in growth for Lexington. I don't think the people know. And I think we need to find all the ways to communicate people, whether it be in writing, whether it's a QR code that they can link to something to see it, whether it's email, text, podcast. I was thinking this morning, maybe I need to do a mayor's podcast on a regular basis.
Heck yeah.
And, get people from the community to join me and tell me their thoughts and stuff and share things. So I think it's communication key and I'll take my responsibility for not pushing harder the last few years to do that.
Yeah.
But I think it is, how do we get the word out there?
Yeah. That is interesting. What specific initiative would you say is going to be your first kind of plan of attack coming in?
First initiative. First initiative to me is going back to my team again.
Yep.
Whoever's elected. We do have one new member on there, that's Gavin Smith, that was elected back in May. And my first initiative, and we have a new town administrator coming, that is our first female town administrator.
Cool.
And she's coming in November the 20th. And it is to send all of them, as soon as everybody's elected and we know who's there, an email asking them to give me a list of what they'd like to see accomplished next year.
Yeah.
So we can then rate it, whether it costs money, whether it doesn't, things that they see that needs to be tackled, and prioritize that with the council after everybody sends it in, and to also meet with our department heads one by one in their second and get them to go talk to their staff, because we'll use the police department, for instance. They're out in the community all the time.
Yeah.
They may see things that we can improve in the community, or we could do different, or we could add for the citizens. So that's another one, to get their initiatives sent to me too, so we can take those in and use them. Like I said, it's not about me. It's not about one person. It's about all of us, including our staff.
Really exciting stuff to come in the town of Lexington. And I'm fired up that I've gotten a sneak peek into all of these things that go on inside government, things that are part of your plan. Tell me this: somebody who's interested in getting into politics, can you give them some advice? What do they need to have? They need to have it in the heart, or do they need to have it on the skin and the mind?
I think they need to have willingness to want to serve the people. I mean, the quote that you read that I like, it reminds me of the kind of person that I need to be, that, it's not about bullying, because you don't get anything done doing that. It's about being kind.
Yeah.
I think it's about willingness to work. All of us have ideas when we come, but if you're not willing to work, it takes 4 votes to get anything done. You've got to be willing to work with your other members, and you do have to be strong. You do have to be, you do have to have strong opinions.
Yeah.
But you also have to have a servant heart if you really want to do it.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to say, okay, that person didn't vote for me, but I'm still willing to go and serve them.
Yeah.
I'm still willing to be there. So I love serving the people. I've been asked many times to move up to this, to run for the House, or to run for this, or to run for that. And I'm like, no, I love my local level. I love my people.
That's fantastic. They're lucky to have you. Let me ask you this. What final message do you have for the people?
The final message I have for the people is, y'all do, they only have me for a candidate for mayor, so I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for them. But they do have me, so I do encourage them to go out and vote for me. But I do encourage them to really pay attention to the 7 candidates that's out there on their ballot, and to take into consideration, will they be able to work as a team and put their differences aside and do the best for the citizens. That it's not about them and their agendas, it's about what's best for the community.
Fantastic. Hey, thanks so much for coming on today.
Well, thank you for having me, and I've enjoyed this. Hopefully we'll do this again after I'm elected, and I can share you some more stuff.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Thanks.
Hey, everyone. everyone. Many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a follow and click the bell to stay up to date on future episodes, or click the link to watch another previous episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback.